Since 1970s, this station has been a mystery. All you hear there is simply a buzzing sound, but now and then this buzzing sound is interrupted by some encrypted message. It consists of letters and numbers, and the meaning of these encrypted messages is still, up to nowadays, a mystery. Welcome back to Gita Lighthouse. Let's switch that light on. Ha! There it is. All right. So this will be the story of the buzzer. The radio station is a real mystery that has not been solved by anyone in this world. And possibly there are only a few people that really understand the messages that this radio is transmitting to the world, or whoever is intended to receive these messages. Kind of spooky, right? So it gets even spookier once you start to discuss the possible theories surrounding this radio station. So stick around and let's dive in. UVB-76, also known in Russian as Zhuzhilnik, is a military radio station. It is a shortwave radio station that broadcasts on the frequency of 4,625 Hz. What you can hear there basically is a short, monotonous buzzing sound, repeating at the rate of usually 25 tones per minute, 24 hours per day. Now and then this buzz is interrupted by a voice that is citing some kind of numbers and letters in Russian. What is more interesting is that since the moment when this radio was discovered for the outer world, it has never stopped its broadcast. Well, more or less, but we will get to that throughout this video. So the beginning of this radio is estimated to be at around 1970s or up to like 1975 during that period, but definitely it cannot be confirmed. The name of the station has never been said throughout any of these translations or broadcasts on the station, so it has never been named during the broadcasts, okay? The name UVB-76, the buzzer, Zhuzhalka, whatever, all of that is invented by the outer world who had discovered the station. All of the messages that are broadcast on this station are unique, so they are never repeated. This creates a problem for the people who are trying to find some kind of consistency or a system that would help them to kind of understand or translate these messages. People from all over the world are trying to solve the mystery of this radio. Its purpose, meaning behind the messages, signals. There are several theories about what this is all about. One of the theories is that this is a channel for a Russian intelligence service, meaning that it is used to coordinate its work all around the world wherever they have agents. Another and a little bit more scarier theory is that this channel is directly related to nukes, meaning that this can trigger a nuclear attack or even war. Another big question is from where they, whoever they are actually broadcasting through this station. And this question about the location actually has been a big question because nobody has actually found it. Well, a little spoiler alert, a little bit further in this video, I will reveal one of the locations because some people did manage to find it. So, if this sounds intriguing enough for you, press that like in advance, leave a comment, make sure you have subscribed, check out my Patreon, and let's dive in. The buzzer is one of those radio stations that is such a mystery. However, what is more interesting is that many people know it exists and can listen to it, yet there is no clue what they are hearing there. Even if you search on YouTube, you can find enthusiasts who post interesting moments from the broadcasts they have recorded and try to figure things out. At the beginning, the station seemed like an unshakable unit that never stopped working. For example, every hour, exactly on the same time, the station would give the buzzing sound. This broadcasting continued whatever was happening in the world, whatever was happening in Russia throughout the times. Think about the fall of Soviet Union, perestroika, etc., etc. The station still continued to work and broadcasted sometimes even more messages, and some of them got like even stranger. So the 90s come, and the existence of this weird station already is known to Western people. So more and more enthusiasts are tuning in and trying to listen to this. And they are like, wow, what is this? They're speaking Russian, coded messages. This is so suspicious. This is so intriguing. So what are these messages? Is there really no correlation that could give at least some kind of hint what it is about? And yeah, here are some things that people have figured out from the messages that contain the letters and the numbers that someone in Russian is broadcasting. First, there is a call sign, also known as identifier. Usually it consists of 4 symbols. These symbols can be Russian letters or digits. This is repeated 2 times. Second comes the 5-digit ID groups. Third comes 2 message blocks. One block includes a code name and the other a control group, or in simple words, a group of digits. I know it sounds a little bit confusing. What are these groups? So just so you understand, here is an example recorded in February 20th, year 2020. So here you can see the Russian letters NZTI 55439 Yesoled 6302 3118. So the first 4 letters make a call sign that is repeated 2 times. Okay, that would be this NGTE. Then you see the 5-digit ID group, and then you see a code name block with the word Yesoled. And after that, there is a control group block with a group of digits. So that would be kind of how people are reading this. Another interesting thing is that this call sign, in this example, these were letters NZTI, and the code name in this example, Yesoled, is usually voiced 2 times. The first time it is pronounced as a whole word, but the second time it's spelled out. Furthermore, things are not that simple here. The code name not necessarily can consist of 1 word. It can also be of 2 words, but then it's combined with a letter O. So, for example, the previously mentioned example, Yesoled, is actually a word consisting of 2 words combined with an O. So, les, that would be forest, and lod, ice, and in between them is letter O, so Yesoled. And these combinations with the letter O in the middle, sometimes they do make sense, sometimes not. Like this example with Yesoled. Like, what is that word? Forest ice. And I know this sounds like a mind-blowing system that you cannot make sense of, but just wait for it. Soon we will talk about even more crazier things. In 2010, the station drew additional attention from enthusiasts, also from people who are interested in paranormal or mystical things. And the buzzer actually during that time was broadcasting even more than usual, like sometimes even several times during the day. So the situation seemed like escalating because it was more activity. And then suddenly, bam, June 5th of the year 2010, everything suddenly stopped. No buzz, no messages, no explanation, silence. However, the next day, the station started to work again as usual, as if nothing had happened, as if this silence didn't happen. So, what happened during that one day when there was a silence. So after the silence, the remaining months of June and July, the broadcasts were going on as usual. Some observers did notice something a little bit weirder, like there was this one time when somebody recorded something that sounded a little bit like a Morse alphabet, but it wasn't, but like kind of reminded. But yeah. That was pretty much all that was out of the ordinary after the silence. And then August of 2010 comes. So it's like 3 months after this initial silence. The station goes silent again. Nobody understands what's happening. Then the broadcast again reemerges as if nothing has happened. But there is this one particular time when people heard that, you know, they're usually expecting some numbers or the buzz. No, this time what they're hearing is something that resembles person's steps, meaning what you could hear during that broadcast was as if somebody walks with their shoes in an empty room, like you can hear the echo of the steps. So this was being broadcast. What was the meaning of it? Was it an accident? Yeah, this is so bizarre, but actually, this was not the only case when something as bizarre as that was broadcasted. And who knows, maybe it was a mistake, but maybe even that was some kind of message that only a certain person could read. Here is another example of a really strange broadcast on the buzzer. You could listen to the music. More specifically, what they were transmitting was some parts of Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake. There were times when things got really scary because there was this one broadcast when you could clearly hear a woman screaming at the background. What was happening there? Who was this woman? Was somebody doing something bad to her? But if you think this is strange, then get this. There were times when you could hear at the background somebody speaking on the phone in Russian, you know, like as if the broadcast was going and somebody simply forgot to switch off their microphone. So you could literally hear somebody talking on the phone in Russian. You couldn't understand everything that they're saying because there is clearly some interference and this buzz, but you could hear someone speaking there on the phone. Allegedly and supposedly, these conversations were done by Russian military. At least, that is what it seems like when you listen to the tone and topics discussed, judging from the words that you can understand. On November 11, 2010, something even more interesting happened. Accidentally, that is what is suggested, it broadcasts a whole, what seems like military personnel conversation in Russian. And this conversation also revealed some ranks and surnames of military people.
Вулкан тоже пропал. Сейчас вулкан разбирается, в чем причина. Да. Да, вулкан Судак, да. Это между вулканом и Судаком какая-то проблема. Это группа Надежда Правщиков. Я вас не помню. Сейчас за реальное время вы объявляете контрольный звонок или как? Вы контрольный звонок вы сейчас объявляете?
It was December 2017. The station went silent again. Well, nothing crazy, you might say, because this had happened again before and the station comes back as normal. But at 9 p.m. Moscow time, something again was broadcast that left people puzzled. There was a sound that resembled some kind of like interference sound, and through this interference sound you could hear a man's voice broke through, and it sounded as if this man was speaking like proudly, as if he was like delivering a speech, and this speech was responded by a crowd, by like crowd cheering up and responding to this speech. You know, like a speech of some kind of leader to his soldiers. Afterwards, and this is so cringy, it started to play rap music. I couldn't find any record of this particular broadcast, but in sources it was said that this was either Russian or Ukrainian rap songs. And afterwards, after this rap was broadcasted, what you could hear was some kind of Ukrainian slogans. Now, after this controversial broadcast, there was silence and only some interference sounds. The experts and enthusiasts who are carefully following the station started to guess what happened to the station, since things have changed and this last broadcast was so out of ordinary. Some suggested that maybe the station has been taken over by someone. However, it is not that simple. Most of these experts in different forums and chats think that maybe somebody had managed to kind of break into this frequency and as a joke just play this rap to kind of entertain and prove something. I don't know, but we will never know if it really was like that because nobody came out and claimed they have done that. Let's go to the question that I already asked. From where are they broadcasting? All of these years, supposedly from the 70s, nobody has managed to find anything except for like some random chats where they're saying, yeah, I think it's from Tversk in Russia. There is no information if someone has tried to look for the location in the 70s and 80s, the years when it just started to pick up its popularity. But there is information about searches in the 2000s, and it was pretty successful. The search for the location led to a Russian military base located near a village called Povarova, which is 19 kilometers from Moscow. Enthusiasts went there and discovered an old bunker. Wow, this already gets so exciting. So, the people who found this location allegedly managed to get into this military base nearby Moscow. They also managed to find the bunker and enter it. Once they entered it, it was totally abandoned. Like there was nothing. All around you can see some trash, pieces of old technology, private belongings of people. So you could see that somebody had been working there, but this is not the location now anymore. What they also noticed is that the majority of the bunker was filled with water, as if they made sure that even if somebody gets there, they would not be able to explore and research the bunker or take some things or remaining technologies with them. So, yeah, they went away and tried to leave no trace behind. But in general, the parts where they could enter and just a little bit explore, they were so airy. Like, this bunker was dark, silent, consisted of a lot of passages and rooms as if it was like some kind of labyrinth. And the people who got there actually found one really good preserved notebook, which actually was a logbook for the station that we are discussing today, UVB 76. This was such an exciting news because now this mysterious buzzer, this broadcast channel that has been triggering a lot of people's minds, finally acquired a physical location. Yeah, except the fact that this is not the location anymore. It still has its broadcasts, but this location, it doesn't come from there. So from where is it coming now? People have analyzed and found out that now the signal comes from Kero village in Leningrad Oblast in Russia, but the broadcast centers are in several places, namely Voronezh, Pskov, and one village in Leningrad Oblast. What we can conclude from these findings is that the station that initially was broadcasting from one bunker now has gained higher importance, since now they have invested and created several broadcasting centers around Russia. But despite the fact that now we kind of know from where these broadcasts are coming, we still do not know the answers to the most important questions. What do these messages mean? Who is sending them to who? And finally, why? One of the difficulties in replying to these questions lies in the fact that you cannot actually find the owner of the station, because if you would know who is the owner, this would directly lead us to someone to whom we can ask the questions about who is this person or institution who owns this radio station. The armed forces of the Russian Federation deny being involved. This makes answering the question of the owner even more intriguing. This triggers conspiracies, and enthusiasts cannot stop gathering new theories while meticulously following all the broadcasts. There are many fan clubs of these people on the internet working on this, and they still haven't gotten anywhere. Needless to say that institutions also outside Russia are very much interested into the messages and the buzzer in general. For example, MI6, and one of the experts from Britain actually came out with his own research results, and what he said was, I quote, "The signal of this radio station does not bear any message." So did he just say that so that nobody thinks that MI6 is losers and they cannot crack Russian codes? Or maybe there is some kind of grain of truth there, and this is really like a big prank started at around 1970s? I don't know, but I wouldn't believe that, I guess. And so the local Russian researchers have put forward several possible scenarios. So let's look into those. One of the theories is that this radio was actually started by some kind of crazy radio freak geek who started this all as a joke. And then afterwards, after seeing how people react to this, how they create theories and this buzz all around it, he just couldn't stop and continue trolling everyone. But the fact is that it started in the 70s, so this geek freak should be quite old right now. And what happens if he passes away? So, not really believing that. Another theory that is also quite popular is more related to aliens and paranormal things. So they are saying that there is some kind of entity, possibly also alien, that is kind of breaking into this frequency and transmitting some kind of scary messages or some kind of messages that we cannot understand. Or also this alien is trolling us and just seeing what will be our reactions here. All of these crazy theories, let's just add another one, okay? Straight from a bat. Maybe this is us, just from the future, from the apocalyptical future, trying to reach us here and trying to tell us what not to do so that we don't destroy us in the future. I mean, I kind of love this theory. Not sure if this can work. If you understand how it could work, write in comments. But let's now move to more down-to-earth versions. And one of the most common probably is that this radio station, the buzzer, is used for intelligence services so that the agents or spies could communicate between each other, and only they know the real meaning of these messages. So they would reach out to their spies all around the world, wherever they are, and deliver messages through this channel. The most popular theory is that the buzzer was created during the Cold War with military intentions. The station uses shortwave frequencies which can cover large distances even in other countries. This makes it so easy to communicate with secret services, spies, U-boats, and ships all around the world. But the most scariest part in relation to this Cold War theory is related to the dead hand. So what is it? At first, it was just a legend, but now the Russian military confirmed it. It exists. Perimeter, aka Dead Hand, is a Russian, formerly Soviet, automatic nuclear weapons control system. It was designed to retaliate with a full nuclear strike, even if the country's leadership was wiped out. If Russia were attacked with nuclear weapons and its leadership couldn't respond, Perimeter would automatically launch a massive counterstrike, even without a human command. Basically, you kill us, you die too. So how this would be related to the buzzer? It is alleged that the buzzer is actually like a channel that has been reserved for this kind of purpose. When everything starts to go to the hell, the Russian Ministry of Defense would use this channel to reach out to all of its agents and spies all around the world to give them some kind of like lost tasks. For example, in the year 2013, the buzzer sent out a message which was as follows: announced command 135. And it is believed that this was actually a drill message. So they were like doing an exercise of this kind of scenario with that. Moreover, it is also alleged that this channel is used for Военный комиссариат, aka Военкомат. In translation, this would be Russian recruitment office. They would also now and then use the channel to send messages to separate departments. Many people in these enthusiast researching forums wrote that someone from the inside, from this Военкомат, has told them that they have heard this channel being broadcast in some of the recruitment office departments. This photo actually is made in one of the recruitment offices in Russia and kind of supports this theory. It says, radio network number 43, operating frequency 4625 Hz, works 24/7. Here's a reminder in case you forgot. The frequency of the buzzer is 4625 Hz. And it works 24/7. Well, except those couple times. So why would this be on a shelf in an office in the recruitment office? So at the end, maybe we can conclude that UEB-76, aka the buzzer, is actually used by the military to communicate in between their departments. Kind of sounds logic considering if this is true. Like, the picture probably is true, but then how can you prove that it has actually been taken from that office? Yeah, that's a question. It is also assumed that the buzz that is broadcast in between the messages is there with a purpose. The purpose being keeping the channel busy so that nobody can take it and it would solely be used only for the communication between military. So nobody can enter there. Nobody can do something with this frequency. It belongs to whoever it belongs for these kind of messages and for these kind of purposes that we are now trying to understand here. All in all, and I'm kind of leaning towards it, it is believed, or it is said that the most believable theory is that this really belongs to Russian military, but nobody is like coming out and saying, yes, it belongs to us and we're using it. Although the like speculation around the messages and the purpose and why is it used and why it's always busy, it's always there. We probably will never know because, secrecy. Government. Government has secrets. And military questions, like, we will probably never understand what is happening there. Is it a drill? Is it a nuclear war or whatever? In line with that, the enthusiasts have also found like a brother or a sister to the buzzer, which is called Pip. In Russian, it would be kapля. If we compare this frequency and this radio station to the buzzer, it's a little bit different because instead of buzz, you are having this like pip sound. So that's why they're calling it pip or kapля. And believe it or not, now and then this beep beep sound is actually disturbed by some kind of message in Russian. So there's that. But still, if we're like still balancing on the line of conspiracy theories, here's another one. One of the Russian newspapers called Izvestia shared an information about something that they have discovered, and probably it is possibly just a coincidence or maybe it is related. So it was May 19th, year 2025. The president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, has a phone call with Donald Trump. And coincidence or not, the buzzer sends out one of these weird messages straight before this conversation. And the second message, this weird message, is sent out during the time when both of these people are having the phone conversation. You tell me if it's related, but yeah, maybe it's just a coincidence. So here is the question. What do you think? Are you also team military, thinking that this frequency is kind of booked and kept busy by the military so that they know they have a reliable channel for broadcasting their own things, either to the spies or other military departments or whatever, like dead hand? Or you do believe more into this a little bit more crazier theory about people from the future trying to connect with us, or some aliens, or maybe it's simply just a joke that started during the 70s. Anyways, if you are interested into following UEB 76, the buzzer call, whatever, yourself, I will put the link down in the description, and you can certainly do that and let me know if you are hearing something weird there and maybe you have found the code. That being said, I think it's about time to... I failed. I cannot. I guess I have to continue. I'm gonna show you my cat again. Do you have an opinion? And? Oh, it's a serious question. Do you think it's... Oh, you're showing my... Okay. She's gone. Vasya! She's coming. Vasya! Oh, she's a little bit sleepy. So I'm just here, and Vasya is reminding you to make sure that you have subscribed, press those likes, leave a comment, because it helps the development of my channel and also kind of pushes me forward oh, yeah, we're gonna go. And also pushes me forward and helps the algorithm to understand that it's worth watching my channel. That being said, if you feel like you could support me with some finances, here's my Patreon, so check it out. Sorry, but I have to make this. While I'm editing this video, I received a message that now I have not only David Craig, hi David, who has always been my first and so far only Patreon on my Patreon channel. Now I received a notification that I have another supporter. So I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but it's Keith Winthorpe Gredig. Thank you so much for your support. Now I have 2 Patreons and it makes me so happy. It makes me feel so appreciated. So thank you guys so much for your support, and I hope you have a lovely day. So Gita Lighthouse is signing out. Have a lovely day and stay curious. Bye.